G'day, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the CoolDadCollective podcast that is for dads by dad, talking everything there is to talk about fatherhood. And you may notice I am coming through a little bit more huskier than usual, and that is mainly because I've lost. Well, I wouldn't say I've lost my voice, but I'm probably coming to that point where my voice is coming back, but it's still not there yet. So, doing a podcast is probably a silly thing to do, but it doesn't matter because your boy's got a routine to fill. Your boy's got stuff he needs to do. I don't have time. I don't have time to be worrying about how rough my voice sounds. So, how's the week been? It's been a big week. I'm I'm extremely tired. I'll run you through my weekend. Friday night. Had my Christmas party for work. Super fun. So much fun. Christmas parties for work always go well, provided you keep your head. So, I did a good job of keeping my head for the most part. We went to a karaoke place. So, you order your dinner, you get your dinner. It's BYO. I just want to highlight that. It's BYO. And then we jump into karaoke. So, of course, your boy got a little bit silly. And I don't usually get silly compared to, obviously, my younger days. It's not really like a thing of cutting down because I needed to. I think that was, cutting down alcohol in general was just something that I think I needed to do purely because, I don't know, I just don't like going out that much anymore. I'll be honest. I like going to the pub. I like doing all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to actually going to a place and continuing on the party, your boy just doesn't have that in him anymore. And there used to be there. It used to be there, old Splendor in the Grass back in the day, things like that. Listen out, just uni games, all that sort of stuff, okay? All that sort of stuff played a great part of my life in terms of building friendships and things like that. But, probably towards the age of 28, I reckon, after Skylar was born, it was obviously one of those things where I was like, okay, there's probably not going to be much room for this in my life in terms of going out all the time. Not because of going out per se, but the next day is just... If you're over the age of 26, 27, it's all downhill from there in terms of how you deal with hangovers because it is Monday afternoon. So I was drinking on Friday, okay, and had a pretty large night, I won't lie, because I have maybe 3 a year where I sort of let loose a little bit. And Friday was one of them, was with all my mates from work, and it was a fantastic night. Drank way too much. Oh my gosh. And I always say I don't drink wine. For some reason, this place was only BYO wine, and I'm more of a beer guy if I'm going to drink anything. So I had a bottle of wine, and my God, wine just annihilates people. I don't know. If you are about to go to a Christmas party, don't drink wine. Please don't do that. It just sends me... Well, me personally, it just sends me loopy, dude. I just get way too silly. Anyway, nothing bad happened. I had a great night. Got to about, midnight, which is late if I'm going out. Not unusual. If I'm up till 1 a.m. editing, different vibe, right? But out actually drinking till 12 o'clock. I ended up getting an Uber with some of my mates to the Valley, which is, for a 30-year-old dude, the Valley is not where you want to be. I'll be honest with you. It might be for some, respectfully. If that's your jam, oh, hell yeah, go for it. But me, too many people, too much going on. End up getting a gyros, ate half the gyros. Really wanted to eat more of the gyros, but apparently I was just in a state of mind where all I could think about was I needed to get home. So I decided to do the mature thing. I thought, you know what? I'm probably past my use-by date, thinking about how much I had drank. So I decided to, as we call it, smoke bomb. And the art of the smoke bomb is... There's something nice about a smoke bomb. I don't really like saying goodbyes, okay, because it makes a big deal out of things. You got to get around to everyone. I'm more of a person where if I say goodbye to one person, I feel bad, so I got to say goodbye to everyone there. And when there's a lot of people there, you might have the same thing as me. So the Irish goodbye or the smoke bomb is my exit, right? I'll be honest. If I say, hey, I'm going to the toilet, I just need to go to the toilet, and I'm gone for more than 15 minutes, I've gone home. Just know that. I've gone home. Respectfully, I've had a great night, but I've gone home. So I decided to go home, and of course, through my own fault, and by when I say my own fault, I mean I was the one that decided to drink this much. I woke up on Saturday morning with, I'm going to go top 3 hangover. Top 3 hangover. I was not in a good place. I felt sick. I felt slow. I felt dumb. just hangovers are the worst. And you know, the best thing about having kids, before kids, if you hungover, you could just waste a day. You're just like, this day is a write-off. Whatever's getting done today, nothing's getting done today. I'm staying in bed, aircon's staying on. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to wallow in my own sorrow. And unfortunately, when you have kids, there's no wallowing in sorrow. There's no sorrow to be wallowed because you're out there doing the damn dad thing straight away. So, and I'm not going to be one of those guys that's like, oh, dad's drunk too much. I'm not doing, no way, dude. This is a challenge for me. Woke up with a top 3 hangover. And of course, we're going straight to the Wiggles. So we did, I was very lucky, was able to go and do the backstage thing with the Wiggles and see them and hang out with them, and unbelievable time. So much fun. I always, it's one of those moments where Cool Dad doesn't do, Cool Dad is one of those things where I do everything on Cool Dad. It's mainly, about me. And I'm not someone that puts my daughters in a lot of my stuff. I'm very like, this is about me, not them. This is about my journey and fatherhood. As much as it is so about them and me being their dad, it's not them. It's about me, which is selfish as that sounds. I don't want to get to a point where, they're 13, 14, 15 years old and they're in every one of my videos and they're like the root reason why people watch my videos. It may mean I'm not getting a lot of viewers because no one wants to look at this, but it means that I'm creating the content that I like. Anyway, besides the point, hung out with the Wiggles. So much good. So much good. So great. Went to the Wiggles show. Awesome. Managed to keep my head there. It was great. Tried to keep the stomach bugs down. I had some grumbly tummies. I wasn't hungry for food yet. My God, it was insane, the fact that I was there. But hey, we were there. And then after that, I remembered. And these are the things that make the day just so much. You finish your 10K. It's like you finish a 10K run and then someone goes, hey, that's awesome. By the way, you're halfway finished. We had a birthday to get to. And oh my gosh. The birthday was at a gymnastics center. Amazing setup. So good. Had the whole place rented for the time. It was great. The kids went crazy. No air conditioning. Just one big fan just circulating. Similar to studio, to be honest, but I'm not feeling terrible. And it's just circulating hot air. And I'm just laying there like, this is it. This is how I go out. This is why I don't drink anymore. What the hell was I doing? Oh my gosh, head noise. So, it was a tough day. Got home. Thankfully enough, Kia could see that I was hurting. She even said to me in the car, she was like, I am so surprised how you've managed to get through the day. And I looked her dead in the eye and I said, I am equally as surprised as to how I've gotten through this day and managed to have a mad day with the girls. So hangovers are no excuse. We got it done. And then, of course, we go to day 2 of the hangover. That's right. If you're 30 or close to 30, your hangovers don't just last for a day anymore. They last. There's many facets to the hangover, right? So Saturday, hungover, got the whole day done, got home, crashed. Next day, woke up. Sunday, usually pretty chill. Wrong. All the cleaning, the house was just a mess. We had so much to do and we had to get it done because otherwise you go into the week, the work week, and you still got stuff to do. So, I had to, once again, whatever mood I was feeling, whatever hangover I was feeling, I had to swallow that. I had to deal with it. Got some cleaning done, got the bed sheets changed, got everything done, groceries. It was hell on earth, but we did it. And the best thing about it now is I feel like I haven't had a weekend. I just got out of work. Your boy's tired, but I tell you, these are the reps. These are the reps. This is my gym. This is where I come. It's routine. I have to be here on a Monday. We're recording on a Monday. No matter how I feel, if my voice is gone, we're back in the studio. Back in the studio talking about the dad life. Just reflecting on things I could be doing better. And one of those things probably is maybe when I go to a Christmas party, tone it down. You're not 20 anymore, Matson. Start realizing, you can't drink the way you used to. You're a changed man. You're not as seasoned. You're not as well trained to deal with these things. So yes, that was one of my 4 or 3 nights out for the year. I don't have many for this reason. I'm still dealing with it now. I probably got to go home and do some more cleaning. Got to sort out dinners and everything like that. But we're here. We're getting the podcast done, and it's a good one because, I want to touch on a couple of things today. Obviously, as I said, Wiggles, So good. I'm very, very fortunate in the opportunities that CoolDad has sort of presented me, and the work that goes into CoolDad, that I have been able to go out and see the Wiggles so many times. And one thing I do want to say about the Wiggles, and because I guess when you see, like, they're in our houses a lot. They're in our houses a lot, they're in our cars. We're listening to them a lot. They're on TV, all that sort of stuff. And you have these people that your kids are really, really familiar with. And one thing I do want to say about the Wiggles is I've seen them multiple times. I've hung out with them backstage, done all that. And I can 125 million% tell you that they are unbelievable people. Like, when you meet people and, they're famous and they present themselves a certain way. I hope this is me too. So hopefully people can attest to this, but whatever. When they meet them in like real life, you start to go, oh man, like, oh, that's not really what they're like. I can assure you, the Wiggles are so amazing. Those guys work so hard. It is insane. Their schedule is unbelievable, and they're still making time before show, after show, during the show. They're getting out and taking photos with the kids and like doing things with the kids, taking signs in, saying thank you. Like, oh my gosh, the stuff that they do, it blows me away. Every time I see them, it blows me away. And Luke, their manager, who I'm very, very fortunate enough to be friends with, is probably one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, the dude is constantly working. He's constantly making sure that everything is all good, making sure that everyone's taken care of, making sure that there's amazing ideas coming out of the Wiggles. All these collaborations that you see are like, it is so cool. So if you're going to get anything out of this, is that, if you're someone or your kid loves the Wiggles, like, trust me when I say they appreciate your kids so much. They appreciate you. They appreciate the time that's spent, the money you spend to go to their concerts and things like that. They are such amazing people. And if you ever get the opportunity to meet the Wiggles or do something with the Wiggles, and I really hope that so many people do, and I'm sure that they're like the number one people that go off and do things with kids or, those sorts of things. It is so worth it. I promise you, it is so worth it. They're such great people. They make so much time. And every time I see them, I'm blown away. I'm genuinely blown away at how they are as people too. So they're just amazing. So going to see the Wiggles was great. And I did mention to Luke that I was deathly hungover. He noticed it in my voice. And, it's the dad thing. You just get it done. You just do it. So fantastic experience. And I really am very blessed that I do get these experiences, and seeing like my daughters be able to like hang out with Lucia and get a photo with her and be completely super stoked. And I guess the thing I'm getting at, I guess overall here, is I wouldn't have any of these opportunities if I didn't at one point in my life decide to, I guess, take the risk and pick up a microphone. And like, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm very lucky that I've had many opportunities, but these opportunities don't come. And this doesn't have to just do with podcasting or social media, but I was able to just do a lot of these things because I put myself in environments that I felt, I guess, I was quite vulnerable. Doing this stuff is quite vulnerable. Filming things, trying to be funny and putting it out there and then being like, that's not very funny. Like, all those things take a lot of balls to do. And I think if you're someone who really wants to do that, which I know so many people I know that listen to this podcast probably are people that want to get into that realm. I cannot tell you how many amazing opportunities I've received that have benefited my daughters, and I've been able to give them things that I would not usually be able to give them because I decided to just put myself out there. So, around all this sort of stuff, I know there are people that probably think about it and they're like, oh, I don't want to start a podcast. I don't want to. If you're thinking about doing it and you're like at the age where you feel like that opportunity has slipped away from you and you haven't been able to do it, I encourage you. I like almost just do it. Just try. Literally, we live in a space now where this sort of medium, doing this sort of stuff, is so new still. Like, it feels like we've been here for ages, but it is progressing so quickly that it is always new. And like, putting yourself out there is never a bad thing. Putting yourself into a different situation, whether you want to start like something to do with like sports media or anything like that, this is the one time that you could actually do that and make something of it without, having to follow that like traditional sort of way of getting to that point. There's so many people out there who get opportunities in media or get opportunities for TV and sport just purely because they decide to put themselves in front of a camera. It's one of the coolest things ever, and it's one thing that I always look back on and I say, thank God I did that. Thank God I decided, even though I felt like this is a stupid thing, I felt like starting a podcast, my first podcast, was going to make me like look like a fucking idiot. And to be fair, it did. At times it did, but I got so much better, so much more comfortable, so that when I was given the opportunity, when I was able to gain followers from a random video, a video that I probably made so many of, but for some reason, this one video picked up traction, it's amazing. When you get given an opportunity like that, you just take it with both hands. So if I'm getting at anything, if you are a parent, a dad, whatever, and you feel like that time is gone and you feel like there was something you really wanted to do, just go do it. Just go do it. You have no idea where it could end up. Like literally no idea. You have no idea what video you make that might go viral. You have no idea what blog posts you sort of post. And then all of a sudden, like, you're writing multiple blog posts of people wanting to, get your insight into different things, whether it is parenting or whatever you're interested in. But I would highly, highly recommend do it. Just do it. Don't leave any card on the table. Like if you want to try something, try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Worst thing that happens is you can tell your kids, hey, dad really wanted to do this thing and I didn't think it would work and I did it anyway. And I didn't quite get to the point that I wanted to be at, but I learned so much along the way. And you can relay that to your kids. Your kids are constantly going to be doing something that is out of their comfort zone. And as adults, we sort of get the choice now. Once we establish ourselves, we get the choice then how far out of the comfort zone do we want to be? And more often than not, we decide to stay in that comfort zone. And staying in the comfort zone when you're comfortable, it's great, but it is dangerous. You always want to find something that gets you out of your comfort zone, because when you're outside the comfort zone, that's when you're growing. That's when you're growing. If you want to start, I don't know, doing a martial art, starting a sport, starting a hobby, starting something, just jump in and do it. It doesn't have to be social media. Just don't ever get to the point where you're comfortable where you're at and you don't want to add any skills to your tool belt. Because the moment we start doing that, that's where we start to decline. That's where we start to head down that, we've done enough. If you're 30, you haven't done enough. I promise you. There are so many things that you can still do. Like, don't spend your life thinking, I've made it to this point. That's it. I'm comfortable. If that's you, go for it. If you feel like that's a thing. But if you still got that inner urge to like, I really want to try this thing, just go do it. Go and do it. So, yeah, I always, whenever I feel that, like, someone might message me or be like, hey, I really want to do this thing, just do it. Just do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? It fails. And then you go back to exactly where you are at this given moment in time. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then something might happen. Yeah. But speaking of that, one thing I do love about being a parent, and we're sort of, switching courses here because, I do like switching courses. And it's something I saw a video the other day that said, if you feel nostalgia, so nostalgia for some reason, I don't know whether it's because I'm getting older, but I'm feeling very nostalgic recently. I see a lot of like, I posted one the other day on my Instagram about like what it was like to be a boy in the 2000s. And I had all these like weird things that you did, like, water bombs, things like that. And it does make you very nostalgic around, I guess, your childhood. I know some people, their childhoods, like I'm very lucky. My childhood was very, very positive and I do have very fond memories. And so you start thinking about all these nostalgic things that you did as a kid, whether you did it with your parents or maybe Christmas. Christmas to me is a very nostalgic time because I remember all the cool things that like my mom and dad would do and the things we do with our family. And so you kind of want to emulate that, but you never quite get to that point that you had because when you're a kid, you experience things differently and you feel things differently all the time. And as an adult, you sort of try and chase that feeling, but you never quite get there. But the amazing thing about being a parent and having your own kids is, and it's one thing that you can kind of when you're putting in a lot of effort to do something, you're almost like creating nostalgia. Like you almost get a little bit of a buzz through like creating nostalgic moments. And nostalgia usually comes from things like traditions. So one thing I love about, my girls at Christmas and Kia and I at Christmas is obviously Kia came from a different family. I've got my Christmas traditions. She's got hers, and you can almost like squish your traditions into like, a new family tradition, I guess. Like, and so, we got an advent calendar, and, my mum, she was insanely talented, which she always is insanely talented, but she's so creative. But when I was younger, she created our own, like she sewed up our own advent calendar. And the cool thing about that was she would have pockets, and in the advent calendar, every single day we get like a new treat. It wasn't like one of those, chocolate ones where you pop it out and then you get the same chocolate every week. And it was one thing that I really wanted to do for my daughters, right? So we bought a Harry Potter advent calendar. And you may ask, why Harry Potter? Like, what's the go? Kia is a massive, and me, but she more so is, a massive Harry Potter fan. Huge Harry Potter, like absolutely loves it. We watch it so frequently. Everyone probably does a Harry Potter marathon like once a year. We probably do it like 5 or 6 times a year, just randomly if it's too hot or maybe it's, raining, or we'll just chuck on the Harry Potters. It just goes, right? So the advent calendar we bought was a Harry Potter one. It had Hedwig, like the owl, up the top, and it was really, really cool. And the thing I loved about it is it had the pouches. So I got the little element of like me where I wanted to put something different in the pouches every single day. So, when they go to sleep. And what we sort of started doing is we started mentioning that Hedwig, who is the owl who delivers messages, Hedwig would often, when the girls go to sleep, would fly off to the North Pole and start relaying messages to Santa. And Santa would then give Hedwig chocolates, and Hedwig would fly back. This is all while the kids are asleep. Would fly back, land on the advent calendar, so it like sits on a perch, and then in the pockets for that date will be like the lollies or the chocolate from what Santa has given. And that's something that I absolutely love. It is such a small thing that we've done from the start when Skylar was born, and even when Skylar couldn't eat chocolate or whatever, we've just done it every year, and now we have this tradition, and it's such a small tradition that I can already see. Like you can already see how it's sort of playing out in the girls' brains. They wake up every morning in December and they're just so stoked to see if Hedwig's come. And Hedwig comes every day, making sure, because Dad's in charge, making sure that Hedwig gets back and puts the chocolates or whatever it is in the pouches. And, I just love seeing the fact that I know the girls are probably going to like sit around one day when they're older and be like, yeah, you remember Hedwig? Do you remember Hedwig? And Hedwig would bring us chocolates, and oh, that was so cool. Yeah, I remember, like, oh, Mum and Dad, like we used to do it because Mum loved Harry Potter. And those moments where you can see them, I guess, being foreshadowed in your life is the most incredible thing about being a parent. Being a parent and being able to lay the foundation of nostalgia in your kids is such a cool experience. Like Christmas has a new meaning, and we're very lucky in the fact that if your family, maybe Christmas wasn't like a super positive time in your family, maybe it was a time that made it very stressful. Maybe you had a blended family, you had to go different places and you didn't like a certain relative and things like that. Or maybe your parents used to fight around Christmas because it was really stressful for money and things like that. And they obviously don't mean to set it up like that. But if that's the way you view Christmas, when you have your own kids, you have the opportunity to, I guess, have a clean slate. You get to work Christmas the way that you want to work Christmas. And it's so important to know that, it's really important to make your family happy, like the family that you came from, and try to do as many of the things that they want you to do, because it means a lot to them. But in saying that, you have the utmost responsibility. If you didn't enjoy Christmas and you want your kids to enjoy Christmas, it's one of those times where you have to make those decisions, those sort of adult decisions that are tough to come by sometimes, for the benefit of making sure that Christmas is as good as it can be for your family. And for some, that is really, really easy to do because maybe, you do have really involved grandparents and things like that. But for some people, it is really, really hard to, I guess, undo all these little things that you remember negatively and try to reframe those into something that your kids are going to positively remember. And I think it's really important because I know it is sometimes really easy to fall back into those things that, Christmas, that feeling of Christmas, whether you like it or not, whether if it's something that's negative, it's easy to fall into those things because it was probably routine at one point in time that every Christmas day you did this, 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 and this. And to maybe miss a couple things to make sure that your kids are getting the most out of Christmas can be really difficult. And, we're going through that at the moment in terms of I love doing things for Christmas with my family. And I'm very happy that I still get to do Christmas things with my family and Kia likewise. But one of our number one priorities is making sure that no matter what we do in that day, it's still about our family. It's still about our little family and how we celebrate Christmas, the four of us. And so there are probably things that we might leave early on or not go to, or, maybe you've got that relative that your kids never really even see. And you feel this like, they'll feel bad if I don't take our kids there and so they see them. But they're never there anyway. So it's one of those things that, you weigh up, like, is this really important? Do I need to do this, or is this going to negatively affect my day? So if that sort of struck a chord with you, you at the end of the day, you're their parent. Like, your number one responsibility is them. And, as we get older and we have our own family, we do move away from our, I guess, traditional family. And it's up to you to make those decisions of, am I going to spend the time doing this when it's a family requirement, or am I going to spend the time doing this because I know this is going to positively affect my family? So we've sort of run ourselves through our Christmas regime and we've seen what we need to do. We're kind of happy with it. It's one of the reasons why Kira and I used to go overseas a fair bit around Christmas because, when you're overseas, you're more so like, well, it's just us, so we just got to do this. We'll FaceTime, blah, blah, blah. But, with traveling and stuff like that being the cost that it is, we're having Christmas at home this year, which is where I'm equally as happy about. But there's also that thing of we need to make sure it's as good as it can be for our girls. So there are some things that we're going to be like, hey, we're going early, or hey, we're not going to be here for the whole thing. So it's important to have those boundaries up, and they're really strong boundaries because at the end of the day, it's your family now. It's your family, not everyone else's. It's your family. So, make those decisions based on your family and your family alone. Anyway, I feel like we've buried through a fair bit there. I only wanted to do about 30-minute one today because my voice is still killing me. But, main thing is I wanted to, thank you guys for listening as I usually do. I am so appreciative of it and the messages that come through. And, it's one of those things where the fact that there are people out there that enjoy just listening to me ramble or whatever, I will never take that for granted. No matter where this is in a couple of years, it's always going to be for you guys. And I really appreciate you guys. So go into Christmas, enjoy the last few weeks of work that you have. Really prioritize your kids. Spend as much time as you can with them, especially those where they're transitioning into school. I know I'm going to be spending so much time with Skylar to make sure that I've made the most of it tomorrow. I don't work Tuesdays. Tomorrow is going to be the last Tuesday that I have with Skylar while I'm still at work, not including the holidays. And we're going to go out and do something really cool. So you know what it is, guys. CoolDadCollective Podcast. If you want to leave a rating or review, it means a lot. And go follow on all the social media platforms. Guys, you know what it is. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Peace.